Several students said they were having a difficult time knowing how to get started on the shopping cart lab, so I thought I'd take a few minutes and just get you going on it, talk to you about how to test it, and hopefully do that in just a few minutes so that you're not stuck. So again, if we take a look at the shopping cart lab, you're going to again create your own GitHub classroom for this. And if we take a look at the first part, we're going to actually be creating a backend. You'll notice that as opposed to other labs, this one we just give you a description of what you're to create, and you get to build that all yourself. So products will have an ID, a name, and a price. We need a get route to grab all of the products, or to get one product. We need a post route that will create new products. It's going to pass them a name and price. And we need a delete route to get rid of them. One other thing that you'll notice in this lab is there's actually a test script that you can use to make sure that your backend routes are all working. So I encourage you to kind of think about that, and you can almost write your code to the test. The next piece of this is then to create a cart on the back end. And of course, we're going to need a get route, a post route that will allow us to create a new item in the cart, and a put route that will allow us to modify the quantity of that item in the cart. We'll use those on the front end to allow people to increment or decrement the number of items in their cart. Okay. Again, there'll also be a test script for this, and there's also a bunch of mock data that you can use to populate your database, if you will, of products. So let's go ahead and talk about how we would get started on this. So to start with, we've got this list of products. And again, if you think about this probably should ring a bell, because you've recently gotten through doing an assignment that was very similar, actually a couple of them, but this activity N1, you were supposed to, as part of the second lesson in here, you were supposed to create a help ticket server. And if you think about it, help tickets are not that big a difference, or not that different from groceries in a store. So maybe we can use some of this. So what I would encourage you to do is get started by creating a node project and installing Express in the body parser. And then we probably want something like this. We kind of talked about this in class, but often the best way to get going on a web development project is to find something that's similar to what you're doing and change it gradually into what you need, as opposed to start by writing every line of code. So if I was to take a look at this, I could theoretically come in. Here's my grocery store that I've done a git clone on, and here's the back end. So it's possible that I would want to create this grocery.js file, and I can start out by just pasting in that top matter that I used before. I can then go and think a little bit more about what I'm going to need inside of my grocery store. Again, if I look at the ticket system, he wants to go ahead and use a static web server here. So I could go ahead and put that in there. He also is going to tell me that I want to have an array of tickets and a ID that we increment for each ticket. So I can take a look at that, and I want something like that, except these are probably going to be products, right? And so I then want to start looking at the routes. In this ticket lesson, I had a get route that lets me see all of the tickets, and I probably want to do that with my grocery store also. So maybe I'm going to have a different API, And I'm going to just send back my array of products. I also probably want to have a post that lets me create new products. And so I can take a look at this code, and I can see that, again, my path is probably going to be products. And I want to create a new product which will have an ID, a name, and instead of a problem, I probably want a price. And I'm then going to push that onto my products array. And other than that, you'll notice that I'm not getting stuck on this. I am just understanding what the existing code is and modifying it for my purposes. Okay? So at this point, I could say, well, let's go ahead and we've got something we can test now. So I can take a look at, you want to put in your delete route, and I want to go ahead and do a listen on port 3000 in this case. And so I now have a complete backend. I can save this out, and let's see, where are we here? I can go into my, wherever I have this, and I can run this thing I just wrote, node grocery.js, and it's going to sit there waiting on port 3000. So now I want to test this. I can bring up another terminal here, and initially I can do a curl on localhost :3000, and if I do nothing else, oh, it did send me back something. It said there's no route for slash. So I really want to look at /API/products, and that should give me all the products. There's none in there now. Again, we sorry. If you go ahead and download all of these products, you can run add products, and what it will do is add a bunch of products to your node installation. And now when I do a curl on that, you'll notice that I get a whole bunch of them. Okay? So now that's kind of the test that you'll want to run. And then when you're done doing that, you can actually, the instructions tell you to modify your package.json to include this just tester, and it's going to actually allow you to run npm run test, and it's going to go ahead and test everything. It looks like only 2 of the tests passed, so I haven't gotten through writing all my routes yet, but you can go ahead and write the rest of your routes and make sure that they're working before you move on to the next pass. So maybe that's a kind of a good introduction. You know, we can also look at, if I was to go to my web server, go to the API products route, I should be able to test that for my browser, and he will return the array of all the products that I have in my backend. So hopefully that's kind of given you a intro to this. The one other piece that we could possibly learn from is I could put in some new data with something like this, and I could say, let me, from the terminal, I want to go ahead and the data I'm going to put in is going to be a new product, and instead of a problem. So maybe I'm going to put in a new product that's worth $5, and it's going to, I don't know, what's cost $5 now? Maybe milk? And I'm going to say I want to put that data, I want it to send it to the post route, and I want it to send to the API of /API/products. And that should allow me to go ahead and test that. And he will then put that into my array. And probably if I was to refresh this, I would be able to see that I now have a new product in there that's milk, and its price is $5. So go ahead and test this all out, and then you can move on to the next step where we will actually put in our shopping cart.